Hi guys, welcome to Football with Brownie. Hope you're well, keeping safe, keeping each other safe and spreading the love right across the world. Okay, listen to Talksport today, and you have to give Martin Keown all credit. Every Friday he goes into the Talksport studio and gets absolutely hammered by Simon Jordan. Simon Jordan controls him from start to finish every single Friday and makes Martin Keown look like an absolute tool, quite frankly. Anyway, today we're on about Saka and him being the third most foul player in the Premier League. However, Martin Keown thinks he's the first, simply because he watches Saka more than any other player because he's an Arsenal fan. Here we go, and here's Keown trying to hang on to any straw to rescue his argument.
We understand, well, we don't understand, we know it to be true because it's been reported in a whole variety of different news outlets. Arsenal have complained to the PGMOL about the rough way that opponents have treated Bukayo Saka. Apparently fouled 87 times this season. They're saying roughhouse tactics and we're not having it. But he's only third on the list. Most fouled, Jordan Ayew of Palace. Then comes Newcastle's Bruno Guimaraes, and then comes Bukayo Saka. But that hasn't stopped Arsenal going to the PGMOL saying, we're not happy with the treatment that Saka gets. He needs more protection. Martin, in your view, number one, is your former club right to go to the PGMOL and complain about the tough treatment, as they see it, on Saka? And number two, more protection. What does that look like?
Well, the thing I'm surprised at most of all here, just to turn this round, is that Saka's not top of this list. How is it that he's not top of this list?
Because
you want him to be?
No, because my interpretation of watching games is that he is the most foul player currently in the Premier League.
But
he used to be Grealish. He used to be Grealish, but he should be. This is the point.
But he's not.
No, but he should be.
Why?
And the reason I cling to that,
the reason
I cling to that is because referees, and this is all Arsenal are saying, isn't it? That why are they waiting so third or fourth tackle or foul before they book players around Saka? On occasions,
but why aren't Palace kicking up about Ayew?
On occasions,
why aren't Newcastle kicking up about Bruno?
Well, if you look at Ayew and Bruno, they appear remarkably. Just to do my own research, just because you try and create a narrative. Why is it that they also? Why do they appear in the top 10 for most fouls made? I don't see Saka in that list. Do you remember Kevin Davies back in the day was the most foul player and the player who made the most fouls?
Yeah, because he
sometimes to take nothing away from him, but there are some players that play on the edge. Now, I think that Bruno is one of those, and I think that Ayew is one as well. I think Saka genuinely is the one who gets fouled because he's trying to be creative. And I think that talented players will always be targeted.
But Martin, you sit in here screaming, statistics, I need statistics. We're giving you statistics. He's third on the list.
He should be
87,
top. He should be
30
top.
Fewer than Jordan Ayew.
He should be top.
Want statistics? We're giving you statistics.
Strong arm tactics.
So the statistics don't
lie. To take
lie.
nothing away from Fulham the other day, I watched strong arm tactics. Yeah, I saw Paulinho nearly decapitate Saka after taking a shot. Yeah, he got away with it because he was having a shot at goal. They are becoming very, very physical, and I understand why it is. It's a dangerous game to ask for extra protection. Maybe it's that Arsenal just need to defend themselves a little bit more, but then their discipline might go. But he's asking for protection, and all the good players, Jim, they deserve an element of protection, okay? And I think that Saka should be top of this list.
But again, I ask you, what does that look like? This element of
what it looks like. I'm telling you how they feel.
No, but that's the important aspect. Arsenal obviously want something to change.
But if you feel passionate about
what is that something to change? What does that look like? Be more lenient.
I think what they're saying is basically they don't want a free pop at Saka because we're going to be losing our best talent. I mean, what you want is teams to do it by fair means, and I think you can do that. I think you can do that within the rules. I think you can load up players around him. By and large, Fulham did that, but on occasions they were quite physical. And it's in those moments that you're looking to get bookings. I think the bookings that follow.
Statistically, if you do the most dribbles, which he's renowned for, then you're going to get likely the most challenges. I'm surprised that you, as a former defender, think that the physicality of that. I don't think they go over the top with Saka any more than they've gone over the top with other players. I think that ultimately Arsenal are a busy bunch of sods as a football club. You know, their manager goes on television and gets away with a ridiculous rant under the auspice of a rule that says he didn't criticise an individual. No, he just criticised the entire refereeing fraternity, set it all on fire, used evidence about referees in Europe which was statistically and factually wrong, has been proven to be wrong by the performances of European referees, got away with it. His club writes a letter doubling down on the ridiculousness of his behaviour, and now they're writing letters to the PGML whining about their player getting a bit of physicality. I don't know what's going on with the game. It's a game for lightweights now. It's a physical game. Saka is a player that dwells on the ball and does well with the ball, and that's part of his game. And he's going to invite challenges, so he's going to get more fouls. Statistically, he doesn't. He gets less fouls, and what you're doing is coming up with some ridiculous argument about how many fouls they give away.
If you were smart enough to look at the bigger picture,
Kevin Davis,
you'd recognise that he is being fouled the most, but he's not getting the fouls. But this is what they're saying. But
that's
they are
subjective.
saying, look, let's.
But that's subjective. If you've watched every
when
minute,
you watch the Fulham game, you watch it back because I did this week. There are 4 or 5
so what
early
you're saying
challenges
is referees
which are borderline, and the referee is going the wrong way, in my opinion.
But how do you know then, just out of curiosity, that there aren't borderline challenges that Ayo wasn't given a foul for against? Or
well, why is he appearing?
Why
is he appearing? Why are they appearing in the top 10 for fouls made?
But what's that got to do with the price of cheese?
Because they are players that are actually on the edge.
Fantastic.
Saka's
and
not. He's
Kevin
running with the
Davis
ball
from early 2000, a different kind of player, centre forward. We're talking about
players,
wingers here.
There's been a move towards this, hasn't there, in the last 10, 15 years to do so.
We know that by the nature of how many goals are being scored in the Premier League, that this is now a game for attackers. And they've got more insulation, more protection than they've ever had before. And I'm amazed that you sit here in all good faith suggesting that there isn't enough protection for players.
I understand. Look, would I have done that? I think it's one of those.
You just sent them in the stands.
Well, it's a little bit like it being in the playground at school. I think you have to stand up and protect yourself. Now, the Arsenal team of old, with your Vieiras and your Petits and everybody else, would have just, we'll get into a fight.
Do it on a pitch.
We'll sort it out. We'll protect our players. I think I'd like to see a little bit more where the players are running around. You might not like this, going to the referee and saying, look, let's get protection here and now. Let's sort it out. Because it was happening against Fulham, and I thought Fulham were bullying Arsenal. And I think this is what we're looking at.
So you're saying, Martin, maybe let the players kind of take it on board?
I think so. I think
and do their bit to protect, if indeed they think this about Saka.
Within
as opposed to get in touch with the authorities.
Maybe this sort of culture exhibits the reasons why Arsenal bottled it last year, which is what they did, and they may well underachieve this year against spending £250 million in an August transfer window and now asking for more money.
I think that people are able to suss them out because obviously they're becoming quite predictable.
They bottled it last year.
I'm saying this year, I don't think they're bottling it. They've lost, quite a lot of games. They've lost quite a lot of games recently.
Martin, is it not just a case, though, that Saka, being the player he is, and an extremely talented player as well, who obviously creates a lot of attention around himself because of his ability, is, as Simon says, going to get kicked?
He's a target. And it's whether or not it's going over the top.
And
of course he has. Of course he has. And he protect himself. And he has to get better at that. We often see Grealish, don't we, who seems to draw the foul in a slightly different way. But I do feel he's been targeted. And we want referees to get it right. But I think to a certain extent, when human nature comes into it, I think a referee will go the other way. When you complain, that's the concern for me now. They've waved a flag at it. And do the referees say, no, do you know what? It could get worse for Saka before it gets better.
Because Arsenal have complained about him?
Possibly.
Because they're not complained, but
I think it's going to be very
interesting. They've raised awareness.
All I'm saying is...
But they did this a couple of years ago.
If it's a foul, give a foul. And I think there's been a lot of incidents where Saka goes to ground and referees just wave play on. And I'm thinking it's a foul. Now, I may be looking through this prism of these rose-tinted glasses, as Simon so often uses that phrase. But I see it maybe differently. I'm trying to be impartial as I can, and I'm thinking he's getting fouled a lot, Jim. More than anyone else. Certainly more than you and Bruno.
But then why aren't the fouls being given?
Because the referees aren't giving the fouls, Simon, and that is the issue. So why aren't they giving them?
Statistically, they are, because he's the third most fouled offensive player.
Should be way ahead of everybody else.
But that's your view, because you're being subjective about it. But if you were being objective about it and look at it, you'd say, OK, it's across 19 games, however many games he's played this season, 10 different referees have all decided that in every single game they won't give fouls because Saka's been on the receiving end of it. Or maybe they're just not fouls.
Some people are good at disguising when it's a foul. That's why I was talking to you about Kevin Davis. He was fantastic at it.
He's a centre
forward. He'd be leaning all over you.
He's
leaning all over you, and making a foul. And then the next thing, the referee gives a foul against me, and it's like, well, hold on, ref. He's the one backing in, not me.
Right.
So it's down to that was down to
that's
interpretation,
a different kind of foul, though, isn't it? What you're doing is with Saka is Kevin Davies wasn't a creative player. Come on, let's be honest about it. He was a battering ram of a centre forward.
What he did,
of course, and I know Kevin because he played at Millwall for Theo, so I know full well what he did. Right. So the point is this: is I'm not talking about that, but we're talking about creative players, right? Players like Saka that are dribbling with the ball, and in your view, they're getting hatcheted, and I don't think that's the case.
The fact of the matter is Bukayo Saka is third on the list of most fouled this season. Jordan Ayew's top, then comes Bruno Guimaraes of Newcastle, then comes Saka, but that didn't stop Arsenal complaining to the PGMOL about their perceived rough treatment of Bukayo Saka.
How did that get out? How did that get out? PGMLO. Who's made that statement? Was it the PGMLO or was it Arsenal? Where's that come from?
How did that get out?
Yes.
It's been reported widely in a whole bunch of media outlets.
Oh, okay.
That Arsenal
leaked complained
to the PGMOL about the rough way that their man Saka has been treated.
Did PGMOL confirm that?
But let's put it to the test and find out if fans and listeners of other clubs who support other clubs feel that they have a player who attracts the wrong kind of attention, and that player is also unfairly fouled, and those fouls go unchecked. And Arsenal fans, do you side with?
So there you go. Game, set and match Simon Jordan for another week. But I have to agree with Simon Jordan on one thing. Martin Keown was one of the worst bullies on the football pitch, and it's very hypocritical of him bringing something like this up. Anyway, until next time, take care, bye-bye.